Hi, I'm Aparna Nancherla. This is my personal library. Welcome to Shelf Portrait. We're sitting here in front of my library. It's just one shelf, but there are more books in my home, I assure you. It's just that I moved recently, 8 months ago, and the house is still not in order. So this is what we get to look at today. I hope that moment of vulnerability connects you to me. So these are my books. Here's a little secret. It's actually 2 rows. Peekaboo. Whatever you see here, double that. And that's my collection. And I'm not someone who typically holds on to books once I've read them. So these are all books I either haven't read yet or have been meaning to read or give to a friend. Life is short. Let's be honest, probably not gonna get to all of them. I was told to share 5 of my favorite books, but here's the thing, I'm horrible at following directions, so I actually picked 13 books to share. It's gonna go fast, don't worry. First books, see, 4 at once. We're gonna fly through this. This was one of my favorite series as a kid, the Wayside School stories. Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Wayside School is Falling Down. Great sequel. How often can you say the sequel's just as good as the original? Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger. And then, okay, get this. 2020, he releases the 4th book. The first one was written 1978. 42 years later, he gives us another one. I mean, that's how you build up suspense as an author. But I love these books. They're absurdist, they're weird, they're about elementary school where things are kind of wacky and strange. So Wayside School stories, doesn't matter how old you are, you can read them, you can love them. This is another book I loved as a kid, The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. It's a book of vignettes about a little girl, a little Mexican girl and her family growing up in Chicago. And each chapter pretty short, but so poignant. The main character of the book is named Esperanza, which means hope in Spanish. But her sister is named Magdalena, Nenny for short. Guess what? One of my cats named Nenny after this book. I mean, there's no higher honor. This book, Zazie in the Metro, I have not read by Raymond Queneau, but our other cat named Zazie. Uh-oh, seems like you're in a really literary house. Next up, we have some essay collections. This one really blew me away, Minor Feelings by Kathy Park Hong, An Asian American Reckoning. She writes about growing up Asian American and just how that racial identity fits into the sort of black and white narrative that kind of frames America. This one stuck with me. I actually read it twice. Okay, another one blew me away. Thick and Other Essays. Tressie McMillan Cottom. Oof, her brain. I don't even know how to start because it's bigger than all of ours. But yeah, she writes about different social issues, Black feminism, politics, pop culture, beauty, media, money. She's a sociologist, but her writing is woo. That's my review. Another essay collection I love, made me think a lot, The Unreality of Memory and Other Essays by Lisa Gabbert. Also a very thoughtful writer. She's a poet also. She just writes about, disaster culture, climate anxiety, our mounting collective sense of doom, just really living in the zeitgeist. And how about this cover, It's a void. Okay, last book of essays. This one's a lighter read. I know I'm throwing some heavy stuff at you. It's like, okay, professor. But this one by my friend, comedian and writer and actress, triple threat, Maeve Higgins. It's called Tell Everyone on This Train I Love Them. It's a book of essays. It is so funny and fun and smart, like Maeve is. John Ronson. Maeve Higgins is the funniest writer I know. There you go. 2 graphic memoirs that I love. Passing for Human by Liana Fink. Her drawing style is just so original and it's like spare but so evocative. But yeah, this is a memoir of sort of how she became an artist, kind of her parents' timelines. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. This one, Good Talk, a memoir in conversations by Mira Jacob. She learned to draw for this book, and then she wrote an entire graphic memoir that she learned to draw. She didn't know how to draw before this, and then oh my gosh, it's upsetting, but the book is not. The book is great, thought-provoking, funny, just like Mira. Okay, and lastly, 2 more memoirs. The Folded Clock by Heidi Julavitz, one of my favorite writers. It is kind of a different take on the diary. She goes through some childhood diaries and she realizes that she writes kind of like a tax auditor, like it's just cataloging what has happened to her. And I'm like that too. I'll be like, November 5th, 2011, I got oat milk instead of soy milk, and then that'll be the big thing of the day, even though, yeah, don't fact check that, oat milk didn't exist in 2011. But The Folded Clock by Heidi Julavitz is sort of a different take on a diary. She catalogs 2 years in her life and she just weaves all these themes together, and it's incredible. And then another take on the memoir, Encyclopedia of an Ordinary Life by Amy Krauss Rosenthal, who sadly passed away from cancer a few years ago. I have not survived against all odds. I have not lived to tell. I have not witnessed the extraordinary. This is my story. So she sort of turns that idea of like memoirs having to be these really huge, critical life events and kind of focuses on the minutia of day to day, which is really what scratches my itch. And the even more fun part, she makes the memoir into the form of an encyclopedia. So it's like A to Z, and there's just different categories. Like under K, it says kids' meals on flights. And she writes, I never remember to pre-order the kids' meals. It never even occurs to me until I see the flight attendant prancing down the aisle with fun, colorful trays for children who are not mine. This is a book that I've read twice, and I still can't give it away because I love it too much. We're through the books, on to the questions. My favorite genre is fiction because it's like reality, but it's not. My favorite childhood book was The Phantom Tollbooth. Still one of my favorite books. It's about this guy, Milo, who goes, he basically enters this magical world through this toll booth, and it's a world that mirrors the brain. There's like a section of the world that's all about words, and there's a section of the world that's all about numbers, and it's sort of how it all fits together, and it's really fun, and it's just one of those books that has always stuck with me, and I'm sort of a word nerd, so it just, yeah. I don't know the last time I stayed up all night, but I am constantly staying up late reading. I will push my bedtime. Even if I'm falling asleep, I will try to keep reading. I am actually part of a book club. It is a group of assorted people I know. The beautiful thing about this book club is you don't even need to read the book. Sometimes you can just come to the meeting and talk about what's going on in your life. So really it's just like a support group with books. Sometimes. Hard copy till the end. Guys, I'm so sorry to the trees, but I just love sticking my nose in the spine and getting a good whiff and flipping the pages with my fingers, kind of in an annoying way to the people around me, but that's my deal. I am someone who highlights books when they really have parts that stick with me. Do I ever come back and look at them? No, but it feels important to highlight it while I'm reading it. And I will also take quotes from the book and put them in a notes app on my phone. What am I gonna do with all those quotes? Who knows, but they're ready for the next dinner party I go to. This one's a big one for people in my field. The Artist's Way. Gonna be honest, I've referenced it in conversations, never actually read the darn thing. I'm gonna read it any day now. I'm gonna go ahead and say The Artist's Way, just because I'd love to see what they do with it. Maybe, Meryl Streep could play the concept of morning pages. That's pretty cool. Actually, don't use that idea. There's a strike right now. Don't use that. Don't use that. I honestly think enough famous people have been given book deals. Enough is enough. I think the person who should write a tell-all is probably like a cater waiter. I think anyone in the service industry, they have seen some crap, and excuse my language, and I want to know. I want to know everyone's bad behavior, because I think we know it's bad, but I bet it's even worse than we think it is. On the subject of books, I actually wrote a book of essays, Unreliable Narrator, Me, Myself, and Imposter Syndrome. It comes out September 19th. And yeah, I'd love for you to check it out. But while you're at it, maybe subscribe to Marie Claire. I don't know. I don't run your life.